Let me guess, you've completed a reading course, you've done all the practice tests, and your IELTS reading score is still not improving. Now you're wondering what's wrong with you. But here's the truth, nothing is wrong with you. Problem is you're missing one critical step that 95% of IELTS students aren't even aware of. At IELTS Advantage, after helping thousands of students get a band 9 in IELTS reading, we've discovered it's not about working hard, it's about working smart. Today I'll show you the 4-step system that my VIP students have used to get band 9. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So today we're going to answer a question that we often get, which is, why is my IELTS reading score not increasing? And there are 4 key things that we're going to talk about today to explain why students, no matter how much work they do, they still struggle to increase their reading score. So when students email us and tell us, my score is not improving, they're often frustrated for one of 2 reasons. Normally, they say that they have done some kind of reading course that has lots of strategies in them. So they'll say, I have completed this course, or I am following these strategies, and my score is not increasing. Also, commonly, we get students who say, I have done all of the practice tests that I can find. I've done all of the Cambridge books, all of the online tests, and my score is still not increasing. And the problem is that if you are just relying on doing lots of practice tests, this is not going to help you increase your score at all. In fact, it can lower your score, because if you're doing the wrong things, practicing doing the wrong things is going to lead to you getting worse, not better. Also, many students have a misconception about learning on a course or learning strategies and thinking that these will automatically increase their score. In fact, if you do it wrong, it will decrease your score. So in order to solve this problem, we teach our students 4 simple things. So what we do is we explain to them that the strategy that we're going to use is kind of like a car. So I know that this is a beautiful drawing of a car. I know that my drawing is amazing. So thank you so much for complimenting me in the comments on that. But a car has 4 tires. Okay, so it doesn't matter how good your car is. You could have a brand new Tesla worth $100,000. If one of your tires is busted, that car is completely useless. These 4 things over here represent the 4 tires. And if one of these things is missing, then it doesn't matter how many practice tests you do. It doesn't matter how many courses you do. It doesn't matter what you do. You will not increase your reading score unless you do all 4 of these things. So let's talk about what these 4 things are. So the first thing you need is you need a strategy for each question type. So for example, you might have a true, false, not given question, or you might have a matching headings question. And these 2 questions are testing different sub-skills and require a very different strategy for each of these 2 different types of questions. Now, the problem is that many students will learn a strategy and then go and do a practice test or some practice questions. And then what they'll say is, your strategy does not work. Well, that is a problem with your overall approach, not with the strategy. Because your goal is not to look at the strategy once. It is to master the strategy. So the key thing that you need to do at this stage is master the strategy. So what does master mean? Master means that you could teach that strategy to someone else. If someone asked you, what is the strategy for true, false, not given? You wouldn't have to look at your notes. You wouldn't have to check anything. You would be able to tell them, oh, step 1, you do this. Step 2, you do this. Step 3, you do this. Step 4, you do this. And you can tell someone automatically what to do. In other words, on test day, you were able to look at a true, false, not given question or a matching headings question or a multiple choice question and do this strategy automatically without even thinking about it. The problem is that if you look at a strategy but you haven't really mastered it, that strategy is useless. Your wheel here, your tire, is broken. So that brings us on to the second part, which is practice tests. So what a lot of students believe is if they do more practice tests, their score will increase. Well, this is not true. So what you need to do is approach practice tests a little bit differently. Your goal here first is just to have a first goal, which is to master the strategies. So this means that you take a step-by-step strategy and you take some practice questions and you take as long as you want. Time does not matter here. What matters is you mastering the step-by-step strategy. So if it takes you 1.5 hours or 2 hours or 3 hours just to do one practice test, that is absolutely fine. The mistake that a lot of students make is that they look at a strategy and then they do a practice test under exam conditions. They don't get the score that they need, and then they get very frustrated and they blame the strategy or they blame themselves and they start to think, I'm not good enough and I'm going to fail this test. I hate this test. And then they give up. You don't need to feel that way. So first of all, you take the strategy and you apply it to practice tests and take as much time as you want because you're just trying to master that strategy. Take as much time as you want. Think about what you're doing. And then once you are comfortable using the strategies, you can use the practice tests for goal number 2. And goal number 2 is do it under exam conditions because you're just trying to find out your weakness. So you're going to do a weakness analysis. In other words, you're looking at your mistakes. What mistakes are you making? And are there any patterns to these? So that takes us on to the third thing here, which is mistakes or weakness analysis. If you want all of these strategies for every single question in one ebook, all you have to do is just go below to the description of this video, click on the link, and you can download it for free. Normally, we only give this to our VIP students, but for a limited time, you can get this PDF, but get there before we take it away. So if you want everything in one ebook for free, go below, click the link, and you can download it immediately before we take it away. So you're going to think deeply about each mistake. And the reason why you're doing this is you are trying to establish any patterns. Are there any common reasons why you are getting a low score? So for example, if we have a look over here at our mistakes, let's say you get 10 questions wrong. 8 of them are spelling. So you got 8 out of 10 wrong just because of spelling errors. Or you might find that you got confused about the strategy for a particular question. Or you might have worked out that you couldn't find the correct answer because you didn't understand some of the words. It was a vocabulary issue. Or it could be a skills issue. For example, you find it difficult to find the location of the correct word. That would be a scanning issue. Or you find it very difficult to understand general meaning. That would be a skimming issue. Or it could be a particular type of question. For example, every time you do a true, false, not given question, you really struggle with that particular type of question. Or every time you do multiple choice questions, you really struggle with that particular type of question. And if you never do this, again, you will have a busted tire. And it doesn't matter how good everything else is. It doesn't matter how good of a car you have. If you have one busted tire, you are not going anywhere. That car is completely useless. You will not go anywhere. Your score will not increase until you follow this system. But that is not the end of it. Once we understand what our weaknesses are, what our common mistakes are, let's say you look and you see that vocabulary is an issue and true, false, not given questions are an issue. You cannot just stop there. You wouldn't believe the number of students that we work with, even we work with one-on-one, and we tell them the only reason why your reading score is not increasing is because of vocabulary and this particular type of question. And then they do nothing. They go and do the test and then they fail. You don't want to be one of these students. What you want to do next is work on your weak areas. So we want to take our weak area and we want to convert that weak area into a strength. So for example, we want to improve our vocabulary or improve
our ability to answer true, false, not given questions. So we're acting more like a sniper than with a shotgun. It's a sniper approach. We're not focusing on everything. We're just focusing on one or two weaknesses. But you must use these 4 things, and you must use them in order. And then that brings us on to our last part, which is all about time. So every time I explain this to a student, what the student will normally say is, I don't have time to do all of this. Chris, can you not just give me some quick tips and that's going to really increase my score? No, because there are no quick tips that are going to increase your score. So I had a recent student, a VIP student, and she was a pharmacist. So I said, imagine I come into your pharmacy with a headache. So this is me with my headache. I'm not very happy because I've got a headache. And I say, can you give me some drugs? Can you give me some medicine to cure my headache? And she is a great pharmacist. So she gives me some paracetamol to improve my headache. Imagine I come back 5 minutes later and say, your paracetamol, your medicine doesn't work because I still have a headache. What would you say? And she said, I would think that you were being very unreasonable and very difficult. Yes, certain things take time. All right. So if you have 2 students, imagine we have 2 students and one student, let's say today is June 1st, and they book their test for July 1st, and they want to get everything done as quickly as possible in 30 days. Then we have another student. So today is June 1st. And instead of thinking about booking the test, what they do is they just focus on the process. They just focus on doing step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3 and then step 4. This student is going to get the scores they need in the quickest possible time. This student will probably fail because they're trying to do everything as quickly as possible. And to go back to our car analogy, this person, if they have a flat tire, it is probably going to take them, like 30 minutes to change the tire. But if they want to get everything done in 5 minutes, then their car is going nowhere and they're just going to be very, very frustrated. This is what happens with students who fail the test over and over and over again because they're trying to do everything as quickly as possible instead of doing things the right way. If you follow this system, you are going to see great results. But if you miss one of these steps and you don't master the strategies, you don't find out what your weaknesses are and you don't work on your weaknesses, then you are going to fail. So just to recap, get some strategies that actually work, that have been proven to work, and master them so that you can use them automatically on the test. Master means that you could teach someone what those strategies are without looking at any notes. Then do a weakness analysis on your practice tests and then work on those weaknesses. Find out why you are getting a low score and then turn those weaknesses into strengths.
So I want to help you out even more in this video to say thank you for being one of our loyal YouTube fans. One thing that many students have been asking us to do is the ability for me to give them one-on-one feedback on their essays and also create personalized study plans. Now, normally this costs a huge amount of money. We offer this on our VIP course, and if you were just to buy those 2 services, it would be $147. But we're trialing a brand new premium service. What we're going to do today, just for our YouTube viewers, is reduce that price by more than 90%. We're doing both the personalized study plans and the one-on-one feedback for just $10. But because I'm giving my time to this, I can only offer it to a very small number of people. So if you go below into the description, click the link. We might have places available, we might not. These places normally go very quickly because it is an amazing offer. What you will get is, for just $10, I will give you feedback on your essay, tell you everything you need to know, your band scores, everything, and exactly what to do to improve. And I will make you a full IELTS study plan, telling you exactly what to do step by step, day by day, before your test so that you can fully prepare. Normally this costs more than $147, but today it is just $10. I can't guarantee there will be places available, but if you go and check it out, Take one before they are all gone. So now you understand the 4-part system. But here's the problem. Knowing you need a strategy is completely useless if you don't have the right strategy. Most students waste months practicing the wrong approach, and their scores get lower, not higher. So watch this video next. It'll show you the exact step-by-step strategy that thousands of students have used to get Band 9 in IELTS reading, and I'll walk you through how to apply it to every single question type.